Hello, Christian Metal Group. This is Jimmy Sarles, and I got Jay Goodwin here.
That's right. That's
We're
it.
on the we're on the admin team and the leadership team for Christian Metal Group. Today we're with Evan Ryan. Can you pronounce your last name so I don't mess it up?
Yeah, it's Canady. So like
Canady.
Canada, but with a Y on the end.
Gotcha. Evan Ryan Kennedy. So we're glad to have you on here. So tell us, what area of the world do you live in?
I'm out in the middle of nowhere, West Texas.
Nice.
Nice.
Literally
Awesome.
in the middle of nowhere.
Awesome.
Did you-
So Evan, did you grow up in a religious home?
Um, yes, I did. I went to church since can remember. I was a little kid, and um, uh, Church of Christ was where my mother and my parents went, and then later on, when I was in probably junior high, high school, my mother had remarried, and we went to the Methodist church a little bit, but
Okay.
um, that's where I started out. So,
Nice.
Yeah, very cool. What about music? Did you grow up in a musical home?
not really, but I do have family on my father's side that are, at least in Texas, are somewhat famous musicians.
Okay.
And so it was kind of, I guess, in my blood, but different style of music. I've got a twin brother, and
Wow.
when we started listening to music originally, was probably around that I can remember was probably around 10 years old. There's some stuff earlier than that, old stuff that my parents listened to.
Hmm.
My dad was into Roy Orbison and Elton John and things like that.
Okay.
But when I really started listening to music, I was probably around 10, and it was Queen, Metallica. Really, those two started me off,
Hmm.
and
Nice.
then I I just got to where I loved music and got a guitar when I was 12 and started playing it and got into all kinds of other rock and metal music.
Yeah, that's cool. Queen and Metallica. That's we've had a lot of answers on like the questions about influences and um, yeah, those are definitely two that stick out. I must say. I
Absolutely.
almost want to ask you.
Well,
Hey, I almost hate to ask this question this early, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Early on, what are your favorite? What's your favorite Metallica album? What's your favorite Queen album?
well, that's funny you asked because I was about to say when I got into Metallica was right when the Black Album was coming out.
Mhm.
So
Yep. Same here. Yep.
it was the Black Album all the way. And even years later, like I based timeline references and things on, oh, the Black Album, came out around this time. So this, I would use it as a reference point for music. So I was really into the Black Album. As far as Queen goes, your greatest hits and classic Queen, you couldn't beat that. You had a whole bunch of famous songs on both those records, and that's what I listened to the most.
Yeah,
So,
very cool.
yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah. Black Album was also the gateway for me into metal.
Yeah, it was Justice
Um,
for me. How about that?
yeah. Well, you're a
and
little bit
Justice
older
for
than
All,
me.
sure.
Yeah. Now I went back and discovered all those albums, and I love them. It's the ones that came after the Black Album that I couldn't get into. Now some of the newer albums I do like, but it's
Yeah.
just not the same. So Evan, you said you got a guitar, and I know since this you've been releasing some solo music. How many instruments do you actually play?
Oh, well, I play guitar obviously, and I recently, uh, within the past, I don't know, year and a half, taught myself piano,
Cool.
and the piano. Well, just to give a reference, but a reference point. I always wanted to play the piano, and I never did, never did, never did, never found time. Always played guitar, played in band, you know, and like a year and a half ago, I decided, you know what? There's three things that I want to do in life that I haven't done, and one of them being playing the piano, and I'm going to do that. So I sat down, started playing. 60 days in, I wrote my first song,
Nice.
and they just kept flowing after that. And that was actually, I don't know if y'all seen or listened to it, but my first record that I released back in January. So I've released two albums this year, Trials and Tribulations being the other. But
Yeah.
the first record I released in January was called A Day in the Life,
Hmm.
and it's more of a piano-based album. I mean, there's guitar and there's some rock in there and all that, but it's based around the piano. I wrote all the songs pretty much um, piano first, and I picked it up really quick, but it opened up worlds for me
Hmm.
in just playing music and being creative. It it made me a better guitar player. It made me a better songwriter. It made me understand theory a lot better, music theory a lot better. And I'm still got a long way to go, but it really just I love it. It opened up huge worlds to me musically.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah, Jay
yeah.
can relate. That's his
Oh
instrument
yeah,
of choice.
yeah, yeah. Piano is my main instrument. Drums being second. I write good songs on guitar, so I'm hoping that one day, like your experience on piano becomes my experience on guitar.
On guitar, yeah,
You
sure,
know,
absolutely.
but yeah, I definitely write riffs like all the time, though.
It never turns off, right? It's always
Oh yeah,
going.
Yeah,
it's always, yeah, absolutely.
you're always writing a song in your head, man. You know,
Yeah,
something.
yeah. But I think being a multi instrumentalist is a big strength, especially when it comes to gigs. But you say of course you're in the middle of nowhere, so of course it's like your family and God out there. But do you get to get out to the city, like I guess the nearest city, and play like anything local?
I don't. To be honest with you, I played. I was in a band, a heavy metal band based in Austin for 12 years.
Hmm.
Um, really hit it hard for 8 years, and I played so many shows all over Texas, and even did three national tours.
Wow.
And at the age I'm at now, like I don't really have the desire. Um, to be honest with you, I just the thought of hauling in and breaking down gear after a show and all that just makes me cringe. To
Mm.
be honest with you, I've done it too much, and it's
Yeah.
not the part of the music that I enjoy. The part of the
That's
music
the
that I
word.
enjoy is the creative aspect and the writing.
I,
And we have the technologies nowadays with these programs, Logic Pro, and being able to plug into a computer these modeled amps and stuff like that, to where somebody like me, a instrumentalist or whatever you call it, I can sit down in my studio and do that and write and record songs by myself. And it's not to say I don't like having other influences and other bandmates. I mean, that was cool, but you know, I'm able to do that now, and it's great because it's all me. You know, it's all what I like,
right.
and I enjoy that way more than playing shows.
Oh man, that's so funny because I was just telling you all before we start the program, of course, that I had just done a show and I actually was the sound man and the keyboard player and playing key bass.
At the
Yeah,
same time?
Y'all God, it was a lot, and I think I sung a song too. How about that, dude? It's like
Wow.
and
I mean that's pretty awesome. I mean, kudos to
did
you
you
because
did you
I'm
sing
just
from the
saying though,
sound
that's a
booth?
lot of work.
man, we got done with the show, and of course I said it was hot and like trying to break down all that equipment afterwards. I was just like, oh, this is a drag. We need a roadie like now.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my
So
god, yeah, I gotta love those kind of stories though. But it's all good. So you were talking about growing up in a religious home. So let's talk about your experience getting to know God. Like,
Okay. It's probably very unorthodox. I don't know how many people y'all interview and what walks of life they come from, but
all
I definitely didn't come to
all
God
walk.
the way
Yeah,
a lot of people do.
that's all right. God. Everybody's journey is
that's
different,
right.
and you're gonna relate to other people that others don't relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, being in a heavy metal band in Austin and playing shows, and I lived the rock star life. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I got into the drugs and abused them, and I abused alcohol, and um, it was rough. When I came out of that is when I really found God. It's not that I didn't believe in God before. I was more of an agnostic for most of my
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yeah.
And I had some experiences, one in particular where I spoke to the Holy Spirit. And if you want me to expand on the story, I certainly will. I don't know how far to go with it, but
You
um,
tell whatever you're comfortable
Right, exactly. Whatever you're
with.
comfortable. Yeah, it's no,
We're
there's,
here for you,
there's
man.
no rules here.
No rules.
well, I was at a point in my life where I was living out here, and my wife and I, she lived in San Antonio at the time because she was still raising her boys,
Mhm.
and I moved out here, so we were traveling back and forth on the weekends, and she came out here one weekend to stay, and we were burning some brush piles, and one blew up on her, and it burned her up, and she had to be airlifted to Lubbock, um, and to the burn unit.
Wow.
And so when that happened, she had to move out here because I had to take care of her.
Mhm.
And so once she started to heal and get better and all that, well, we were kind of thrown into living together all of a sudden.
Mhm.
And I don't know, just like anybody, even a married couple that, has a life change like that, there's some struggles and things that you go to.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
at the time I
absolutely.
was drinking and I was abusing alcohol, and I wasn't sure how to get out of it.
Hmm.
And I got drunk one day, and I was driving around, and I could have gotten arrested, and it would have changed my whole life. And I realized how blessed I was and how screwed up my life would be if I got in that kind of trouble.
Mhm.
And so, with that being said, that was the first part of me making that mental decision to change.
Mhm.
Sure.
Well, I had it's an interesting story. I don't tell a lot of people about this,
Yeah, it's okay.
We won't tell
but
anybody.
I had some mushrooms,
Mhm.
and I took them one day when my wife was working and I was hanging out here at the house by myself. And I had done them before, and I felt very spiritual when I did. I just felt connected with nature, and I thought, well, maybe that'll help. Maybe I'll try that, and I did. And I was walking in along one of my fence lines between my house and my wheat field,
Mhm.
and I was told to take off my shoes, like spoken into my head. And I took my shoes off, threw them over the fence, and I kept walking down the fence line. And I felt this urge. I was sitting there looking at a couple of my goats out in the field. They were kind of a white color, and they just looked so majestic and beautiful. And I was just thinking how gorgeous they were, and that, only God could make something like that, so beautiful, like a living being. And I felt the urge to lay down, and I laid down on the ground. And as soon as I laid down, I felt like a lightning bolt hit me in the chest, and I left my body and
Oh,
flew up into
okay.
the sky.
Yeah.
And I said, God, if you're ready to take me, I'm ready. I'll go with you. And he said, not today. You have to stay and weather the storm. And right when he said that, I came right back into my body, laying on the ground. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened.
Mhm.
And I, I got up and I came inside, and I was dirty from laying in the wheat field there. I had dirt all over me. And I don't know how, time wise, I don't know how much time had passed, but it was a good while. And maybe an hour. I don't know. And when I got up, I turned to walk back to get my shoes, and the Spirit said, "No, walk towards the west, walk towards the sun."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Wow, okay." And I walked west, went through the back gate, and went back up to the house. And I took a shower, and I remember standing in that shower, and I've never felt this way in my whole life, but I knew in that moment that I had been baptized. I don't know how else to say it.
Right.
I just knew it. I knew in that moment that I was baptized in the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
And it was incredible. And that is, I told my wife about it later because she thought I was just like out of my mind, and I told her the story and I walked her through it. And when I told her about being told to take off my shoes, she was like Moses at the burning bush.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah. Now, is your
And
wife a believer at this point?
oh yeah, my wife's always been. She's
Okay.
always been
She's been the one praying for you, brother.
yeah, I know. And so, anyways, I was telling her the story, and she was like, "Wow, I mean, it's incredible." And that was like at that moment, it wasn't just that I knew that God existed. It was like I understood His love for us and how the relationship with Him is the only way to feel that kind of love and grace. And I could probably pull out some other words to say, but
Right.
it was just an incredible experience, and it changed me forever. And after that is when I got back into music. That's when I learned how to play the piano. One of the other two things that I wanted to do in life, always that I never did, was read the Bible, and I read from cover to cover, and I did that.
So, what year
So
is this?
two of the three things that I wanted to accomplish in life, I did very shortly after. And the thing is when I sat down to learn the piano and to write the first album, I just knew that God was in the room with me. Like I sit back and I go, how did I even come up with that? Like, how did I write that? That's not even my style of music.
Right.
Like, where did that come from? And I only know that it was God was sitting in the room with me writing this music, helping me write this
Yeah.
music. It
Oh,
was His way of being, with me. And it was a very personal, very life-changing sort of time period. And it's one of those deals where like I'll go back and listen to a song or listen to the record or something, and it's nostalgic almost. It throws me right back into that moment when all that was going on. And I
yeah.
just thank God. I mean, I still thank Him to this day for that experience and for blessing me. And I know he was a part of the writing for Trials and Tribulations too.
That's pretty
No
incredible.
doubt about it. For some reason, I maybe that's how He knows to connect with me, because that's that's something that I'm passionate about, is about music. I don't know, but anyways, you know it's pretty incredible, and it gave me this the whole all these experiences gave me this awareness of His presence and my connection with Him.
Mm.
And so it's not to say He wasn't. I know He blessed me my whole life. He's been right by me my whole life. But when I became aware of it, it was just like a whole new ball game.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that's very incredible. And it's undeniable when the spirit is there in the room,
Oh,
and
yeah,
like
for
that. That's
sure.
pretty awesome. So, what year was all this that this took place?
so the big life changing event was about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Um, and then it's been about 2 years or a year. I don't know. It was probably January or February of 2024 when I started learning the piano. And that's when I started writing my first album and recording it and all that. I didn't release it till this past January, but that's when I started. And so it's been relatively recent since but it all had to come together. But I will say, um, after that, so it was about 4 years ago when I had that conversation with him, and then a year after that is when I quit drinking and got sober completely.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the beginning of where I am now, or like the actual physical part of it. I
Right.
stopped drinking. I started eating right. I started working out, getting in shape, and, mind, body, spirit, like
That's
just
awesome,
being
man.
healthy all around.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
the Lord helped me with that. No doubt about it.
So I know you're probably going to have to back up a little bit in history, but give us a little overview of starting getting into a band. I guess is the band you're referring to Shrapnel? Is it,
Yes.
okay, yeah. So tell us a little bit about the history of getting in that band, how that went, and then into where you currently are with music.
Sure. So I told you I have a twin brother. We're identical twins, actually.
Nice.
Um, we both play guitar, started at the same time when we were 12. Well, we started that band when we were seniors in high school, or juniors in high school. It was 1999. And we had a couple of guys, a bassist and a drummer that we went to school with that we started the band with. After high school, pretty much immediately after high school, my brother and I packed up and moved to the Austin area. And took us a couple of years to get settled down there, but then we ended up bringing another guy from our hometown of Lubbock up to play drums for us, somebody that we knew. And then we found a bass player local in the Austin area. And man, it just started from there. We started building contacts and playing, started off playing weeknights or whatever at a club and ended up headlining weekends, shortly thereafter, and met a lot of other bands, and started traveling, using that success locally to move to other cities in Texas. And we just kind of traveled around on the weekends,
Hmm.
in Texas, different cities: Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, of course. And That's how we started. Uh, we did that. We released two full-length albums between, that was probably around 2004 when we really started playing. And then we disbanded in 2012. So during that 8-year time span, we released two full-length records. We did three, I call them national tours, but they were more Midwest down the East Coast, kind of a big circle up to the top of the United States and back around.
Right.
And this
And
is this traditional heavy metal? Is that how you would describe it? The band?
Yeah, we kind of tried to, I'd say traditional heavy metal, but we kind of tried to sway into a little bit of progressive metal. We liked the odd times and things like that, and so we delved into that. I wouldn't call us a progressive metal band, but we kind of swayed that way a little bit. Um, we weren't. My brother was the lead vocalist and the rhythm guitar player, so it was more like a foursome Metallica kind of setup. But we did, it wasn't like screamo vocals or anything like that. Like it was singing, and and anyway, so that it's hard to describe the sound because there's so many subgenres and stuff out there. I always just said, yeah, we're a heavy metal band, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. And then you got out of music, and then you started your solo in the last
I
couple of
did.
years.
I got out of music when we disbanded in 2012, and I just I started I guess my career type life or whatever. Um, I bought the the rehearsal studios that we played in Austin. I actually bought it, and it
Right.
became my business for a couple of years. Then the company I was working for, I was doing that on the side, and then the company I was working for moved me to San Antonio
Mm.
to manage their operation in the San Antonio area. So I ended up moving there. I sold the business and was there for a little while. I was married before, and we got a divorce shortly after our move to San Antonio. And around that time, I just I did. I don't know. I guess it was the change in life or whatever, getting a divorce, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Sure.
Um, I ended up going to Africa for a couple of
Oh
weeks,
wow.
and I volunteered with a conservation in Africa. Just like, I didn't even know why I was going. For some reason, I felt like I was supposed to go to Africa. It
Hmm.
was God leading me there. That's all I can say. And when I got back from that, I was like, you know what? I'm not living the life I'm supposed to live. Um, I don't want to work in corporate America. Um, I want to do my own thing. And that's when I ended up finding this place and moving out here to the country. And the guy in town in Sterling County was selling his propane business at the time. And I was like, why not? So I bought it and been here ever since. And so that time span from 2012 to basically 2024 when I started playing the piano was a 12-year hiatus. And
Okay.
from music, I mean, it was a 12-year hiatus from music. But it took me that time frame to really, for me to grow as a person spiritually and physically. And so it was a good time of my life for that purpose. But it brought me back to music.
Yeah, cool. So with these two albums, now you discussed the differences between Day in the Life and Trials and Tribulations. So since Trials and Tribulations was newer, you talked about the first album um, kind of being based around piano. So what? I don't want to say what possessed you, but what influenced you to to go in the direction you did with Trials and Tribulations? And I'm also we'll ask about vocals in just a little bit. So let's just talk about the
Okay.
process with Trials and Tribulations.
Um, I, so Trials and Tribulations is more my style of music.
Okay.
Um, and after I did A Day in the Life, there's a song on A Day in the Life called "Stand Before the King,"
Okay.
and it's heavy, it's metal, and it's heavy. It's some heavy guitars, it's symphony choirs. I mean, and it's really right up my alley. And when I wrote that song, I was just in awe of that song. And my brother was too. It was his favorite. He'll still tell you, like, that track woke me up. I mean, that is, he loves the song.
Yeah.
And so when I wrote that song, I was like, this is where I want to go. This is where I want to take this piano keyboard sound and mix it with my guitar and make something that's more along that track. And that is exactly what Trials and Tribulations is. Heavy guitars, symphonies, choirs, um, heavy low end and very present heavy low end drums and bass. Um, and so that's really, like I said, that's more my style of music, more what I've always liked. And so, and I love A Day in the Life. I do. I love listening to it. I think it's a great record, and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
Um, but Trial and Tribulations is more up my alley. My favorite bands, probably of all time, um, to this point, is Dream Theater
Oh yeah.
and Symphony X.
Yes. Yes.
Symphony X, more than Dream Theater, is more the style that,
Okay.
at least musically, that I like. Just they're not my. I like Dream Theater as a band more. They're more. I would call them my favorite. But Symphony X has the
They're
the
heavy
sound
for sure.
musically that I really like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
We
And
we
so I kind of leaned that direction with Trials and Tribulations,
Yeah.
and I don't think anybody would compare it to Symphony X or Dream Theater. It's not progressive. I mean, there's very few odd time signatures or anything like
Mhm.
that. But that beef to it,
Yeah.
that muscle is there, and I love it. I mean, I think it turned out really, really well. I'm very proud of that record.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know that we actually had a Symphony X Dream Theater conversation with another
not.
artist recently.
Yeah, we did.
I
Yeah.
think that what you're referring to as far as Symphony X, I think that the two, like Dream Theater's latest album and then also Train of Thought, like they probably come the closest
Yeah.
to actually being like really heavy.
Yeah, Train of Thought is like Dream Theater's Black Album.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
there's that reference again.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and the album is actually black too. So
Yeah, yeah, it is. So it works.
yeah, it's super heavy, really beefy for sure. I love that sound for them for sure, and
Yeah.
just great songs. And I think Symphony X. I mean, I think when they first started out, they kind of started out light too. I guess everybody was listening to Iron Maiden or something. I don't know.
I guess. Yeah.
But after that, they found their
Hey,
sound. The last couple of albums have been so heavy, and I'm just loving it. I love prog also, like prog metal for sure. And I guess as a keyboard player, I'm definitely influenced by those kind of keyboarders, Sharinian, Rudis, like for
Sure.
sure. I mean, God,
Kevin Moore.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Kevin Moore even, yeah, on Images and Words for sure. Yeah, and I think I have like a couple of CDs of his solo stuff too. So yeah, I've kind of
Yeah.
all of them. But yeah, man, that's really cool stuff. So now that the album is out, and I know I'm gonna let Jimmy answer some questions too. I did say I'm gonna talk about the vocals, but we'll do that after Jimmy asks his next question. But now
yeah,
that the album has
Sure.
been out and stuff like that, like where do you want to go next with your music?
Um, well, I'm not sure yet. I have currently I'm writing a song
Mhm.
that I probably wouldn't put on a record. I'll probably release it as a single, but I'm not done with it yet,
Mhm.
and I don't want to overshadow Trials and Tribulations. But it's a praise song, um, and I'm really excited about it. I the most of it I have in my head. I've laid down the piano or a lot of the piano so far,
Mhm.
but I'm taking my time with it because I want it to be. I'm I want it to be perfect when I'm done with it, and so I'm taking my time with that, and that's what I'm going to do next is finish um, that song. What I do next, I'm not real sure, but I do know for a fact that I do want to do a third record for sure. You know, at least as myself. Who knows? I may end up doing many over my lifetime, but I definitely want to do a follow up to Trials and Tribulations. And I would say more than likely it's going to be more like Trials and Tribulations than A Day in the Life.
Okay.
It's it's going to be more that style. I bought a so when I my gimmick for Trials and Tribulations was an 8-string Strandberg guitar.
Yeah.
Um, I just don't know how I can go away from that for the next record. I love it too much, and I like having those two lower note. Now I've done a lot of 7-string stuff with the lower B, but the way I've got this the way I've got this Strandberg tuned is I had that bottom F sharp string. I've got it dropped to an E,
Ooh,
so it's basically drop E on an 8-string guitar,
wow.
and I just love it. I love the sound. I love how low and heavy it is, and as you can tell from listening to Trials and Tribulations, I'm a groove riff writer. I
yeah.
like that groove, and so I definitely the next record that I start working on is going to be angled more towards that sound.
Nice. What is your inspiration for playing guitar? Like who is your hero in guitar? Like what do you look to?
You mean like the actual guitar players?
Yes.
Oh gosh. Um, I mean, there's so many. Obviously, the stated ones from the bands I told you I like: John Petrucci, Michael Romeo.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Definitely, Zach Wild and Dimebag
Hmm.
Darrell and
Okay. Yeah.
Brian May from Queen.
Okay, yeah.
Um, Goodness gracious. I'm trying to think of Steve Vai, Joe
Oh God, yeah.
Satriani, Eric Johnson.
Hmm.
I mean, all kinds of guitar players. You know, um, I just and a lot of the funny enough, but I've actually been lucky enough to meet um, several of them. So um, getting to getting to meet them too, makes you like them even more and respect them even more.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I would probably start with those. I'm sure
Okay.
I could come
That's
up with a
awesome.
lot more if I thought about
Yeah.
it.
No, no, that's great, man. So I wanted to ask you about your artwork on
Yeah.
Trials and Tribulation. So is that actually you in the photo?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Um, so I had the name for the record and the concept for the front cover art before I ever even wrote a note for that album.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know. It was it. I thought,
Mhm.
man, Trials and Tribulations will make a great name for an album. Um, and it's kind of a reference because one of the songs on A Day in the Life, I say Trials and Tribulations. And so it kind of references that a little bit. Maybe that's where that idea came from. But when I thought of Trials and Tribulations as a concept for a song or an album, whatever,
Mhm.
for some reason I just had this image of, you know, some of like the back, and obviously I used myself for the photo, but the back of somebody, you know, um, standing, you know, looking out over whatever it ended, you know, it ended up being on a mountaintop,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't really know how to describe it because it was a little different than it turned out, but that image was in my head for some reason. Probably because, and I'm terrible with words sometimes, but imagery wise, it seems to fit the title. It's kind of I heard some of the reviews and stuff.
Mhm.
You know, people saying because it looks like I'm worn and beaten and like I came out of something, like I came out of adversity and I'm standing there, you know, looking over. Or it could be the opposite. It could be I'm looking down upon the adversity I'm about to
Yeah.
walk into. But for some reason, that image just seemed to really pop into my head when I thought of trials and tribulations. And luckily, I was able to make it a reality.
Yeah.
And I, I actually love that front cover. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've talked to that have brought it up have said, I love that front cover,
I like
you know.
it too. I think it's done very well. Yeah, it turned out great.
Facts, facts, facts. All right, cool. So, I think my first impression, maybe, of listening to um, maybe Trials and Tribulations, like my first impression, it kind of reminded me of like definitely like like proggy, but not like way too proggy. You know, like we were saying. So I mean, the first thing I thought when I heard, and we're gonna talk about vocals, so that's starting with
Sure.
that. But it reminded me of like if Gary Sharon from Extreme was singing for Queensryche, or or maybe John Bush or somebody. Like you feel with John Bush
Oh,
and was it
interesting.
Armored Saint?
Okay.
Well, he played. Oh, he sung for Anthrax also.
Yeah, that's
Not that
right.
not that you sound like any of those, but it's just kind of like that kind of vocal range.
I got you.
It just kind of reminded me of that kind of vibe for sure. Like
Yeah.
not way too heavy, but definitely, you were talking about the Hannah Prague, and like I said,
Yeah.
I was like, because like Queensryche, they definitely have proggy stuff, but it's not like so out there that it's not understandable.
Right. Absolutely.
Like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, so it just kind of reminded me of that. So yeah, so with vocals, I guess who are your biggest vocal influences, and what is your approach to vocals when writing and recording? Mhm.
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting question because I've never really thought about it. I'm not a vocalist. I never have been.
Mhm.
Um, Before I wrote these records, I'd never even sang on a record before. My brother was the vocalist in our previous band. I sang backup in shows, but I mean,
Right,
backup harmony or something, it's not much in metal. Um, so I had to learn how to sing. And the voice that you hear is just my natural singing voice. I'm not
right,
altering it or trying to make it sound like something that it's not.
right,
Um, However, in writing the melodies for those songs, I came to some areas where I was like, I could hear it in my head, and I was like, I have to make this a reality. This is what's going to make the song, and I had to learn how to do it. Ride the Wave is a perfect example because during that chorus, it goes up really high into my falsetto. Moments of Contention, same thing.
hmm
It goes up really high into my falsetto voice. Um, I wasn't trying to make it sound proggy or trying to mimic anybody per se. It's just the way that I heard the melody for the song, and I had to learn how to do it. With that being said, some of my favorite vocalists would be Russell Allen from Symphony
yeah,
X. I think Russell Allen is one of the best rock vocalists, if not the best rock vocalist I've ever heard in my life. And it's not just the way he
Wow.
sings, it's the melodies that he writes. They're so unique.
Mm-hmm.
And he is an incredible, incredible vocalist.
Yeah, he's so good.
Um, Jeff Tate
Oh yeah,
from
absolutely.
Queensryche,
Oh, still there.
100%. Definitely, I'd even go back as far to say James Hetfield.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
know, especially even though I didn't like the music as much in the latter years, especially after the Black Album,
Yeah, the load
but
here
his
was
vocals
amazing.
got better.
His vocals were
Yeah,
top notch on the load and reload. I mean, it was,
yeah. I mean, yeah, they were incredible, and so that definitely, obviously, Freddie Mercury.
mm-hmm.
I mean, incredible, one of the best of all times. James LaBrie from Dream Theater, great vocalist. Um, you know, Ozzy Osbourne, great
Yeah,
vocalist. Very
very
unique
unique. Yes.
sound, very unique style. You know, you hear him say one word or sing
You know
one
exactly who it is.
one word, and you know who it is. There's no denying it. So, um, those would definitely be some of them. I'll even go as far to say Dave Mustaine.
Mm.
You know, I think he's a great vocalist. He's got a higher range than a lot of us do in metal. And I don't mean that he can go higher than some of these other guys, but his normal vocal range
Yeah.
is up there. You know. Anyways, those are a few for sure.
That's
A few of my
awesome.
faves.
Oh,
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about some of the specific songs. So tell us a little bit about Vikings. I really dig that song, and what's the lyrical
yeah.
meaning behind that? And then also Sands of Time. It sounds like you brought in some other instruments or something different there. Tell us about that.
Okay, so Vikings. I don't know. I wrote the very beginning of that song, that first riff, that opening riff, that dun 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 dun, and I was like, this sounds like Vikings. I don't know why, but it does. And I based the whole song around that. To be honest with you, everything that I wrote for that song, I based around that first riff, the inspiration from that first riff. Now, as far as that goes, it's kind of interesting because I don't know, Vikings seem to be popular, but a few years ago, I played for the first time Dungeons and Dragons with my wife and her two sons, and I had to make up a character for the game. And the character that I made up was the Ginger Viking. Well, I've got lots of different ethnicities and stuff in me, but I'm predominantly Irish. So anyway, so that's where the ginger comes from, and then the Viking. And obviously, if you can't tell, my head's shaved on the sides like a Viking. So it was kind of funny because that character from D&D became my persona, and so I just had to write a song about Vikings, a real song, not a parody,
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
real
no, that's
song.
great. Yeah,
And so that's where that came from, and you know, I I think it turned out really well. I absolutely love that song. So, and then you asked about Sands of Time.
instrumentation in Sands of Time.
Oh, the instrumentation, yeah. Um, I wrote. So if you listen to the very first song on the record, Overture, there's a section in Overture that's very like Middle Eastern. It's mostly piano. There's no heavy guitars or anything, and it's a piano section with a lead over the top. And when I was writing Overture, I was trying to write parts of songs that were going to be referenced in the rest of the record, which Vikings is, Sands of Time is, Trials and Tribulations is. And so when I wrote that section for Overture, I took that piano part and I played it on that eight string Strandberg. I played that riff with more chunk, and so I got that chorus riff out of that. And when I wrote that, I was like, this is what they mean when they say write sick riffs, because this riff is sick.
Yeah,
And I was like, so I've got to layer this thing. So I put the piano back into it as backing, and then I layered it with, a symphony orchestra, subtle, to kind of, but to give it that Middle Eastern flair. And and the rest of that song, including the intro and all that, I kind of wrote after I wrote that chorus riff, so that it would all flow together and work together. But the lyrics and the vocals the lyrics for Sands of Time I actually loosely based on the Exodus. Um, if you listen to the lyrics in that chorus section, you'll see what I mean now that I say that. Um,
Okay.
but um, but anyways, so it just musically with the Middle Eastern flair,
Mhm.
the kind of the symphony behind it, and then the vocals and the lyrics, it just turned out to be to all. It just kind of has that sandy Middle Eastern sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
vibe, you know.
Yeah. And then on moments of contention, what? How did it come about with Noel being involved with that song?
I that's a good question. Um, I wrote all the music for that song before I wrote any lyrics.
On P.
And after I had the music done and I would listen back to the music, and I was like, this song is really incredible, but it's got to be a concept song.
Okay.
This isn't something that you just write lyrics to and have different sections to. So I was actually I was on a train in Spain between Sevilla and Madrid,
Oh wow.
and I wrote the first part of that song, the lyrics for the first part of that song on that train. And once I did, I was like, "That's my concept. I want to do something that people can relate to
Yeah.
from all walks of society. They can relate to this song." And so the whole idea was, or the whole concept is that um, it's actually in sections, but the concept is basically hard times or an argument with your partner, or your married couple, or whatever, and then the big reconciliation at the end, like both of you forgiving each other, coming to that forgiveness and reconciling, and apologizing for you know um, both from both parties, because it's not any one fault in a marriage. It's usually there's two sides,
Yeah.
and the way that I wrote it was based on that reason. And I was like, man, I can't just sing this song myself. If this is based on an argument or something from
Mhm.
a couple or whatever, or a relationship period, it doesn't even have to be a couple. It could have just been two friends, but it needs to have somebody else involved in it. And I was like, Noelle, will you will you sing on this with me? And of course
Nice.
she did. She sang a song on my last record too. We have a song on A Day in the Life that I wrote called Together We Pray. And it's kind of a, for lack of a better term, a duet. And so she sings on that with me too. So she's been able to contribute and help me on both of my albums so far, which is pretty neat.
Very nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Super cool. So I know we got like maybe three more questions for you, and
Yeah,
I'll ask
great.
mine, um, and then I'll let Jimmy take the last two. So, what is your favorite thing about being a Christian?
My favorite thing about being a Christian.
Hmm.
Wow. Uh, Gosh, I guess the peace of mind and the comfort, and knowing that I'm not in control,
Yeah.
surrendering myself to something bigger than me, something greater and larger than all of us.
Mhm.
Um, uh, on a, I guess, just the knowing that we're not alone. Um, that everything happens for a reason and will work itself out if you have Jesus next to you. Um, Knowing there's somebody to talk to and pray to, and ask for help and forgiveness. I mean, gosh, there's the awareness and the knowledge and the wisdom and the strength that comes from understanding that and being aware of that. I just don't know how anybody can function in society today without that.
Yeah,
I really don't. It
That's good. That's good.
and that's why so
it's
many don't. How about that?
yeah, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tell us one thing about Evan that somebody watching this might not know.
Something about Evan. Oh,
Do you are you into NASCAR? Can you juggle? I don't know. You got 14 degrees or something. I don't know.
no. Okay. So, um, I never graduated college. I when I got out of high school, I went to school for like a semester in Southwest Texas State or Texas State
Mhm.
now in San Marcos, and I didn't graduate. I hated school.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything to do with it, and so I dropped out, and I've worked hard to make my way through the world, through this life, and be come out fine financially, and so that's one thing. I don't juggle. I do have probably my passion, my outside of music. Mine and my wife's is our animals. We have a lot of
Oh
animals.
wow.
We have goats, horses, dogs, cats, chickens. We have 3 deer.
Oh, three
Um,
deer. Interesting.
we've been taking care of an orphan deer for the past couple of months, and I got to tell you guys, that is a incredible experience to take care of an orphan deer that I
Yeah,
mean, I don't even know how to describe it, y'all. It's been just the most beautiful experience, being able to raise this little guy,
Mhm.
and and to be able to set him free when he's ready to go. So yeah, animals are a huge passion of mine and my wife's,
that's
and
really cool.
so that's one. That's another thing about me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could probably think of a couple others if I really put my mind to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
all
cool.
good.
That's cool.
So, so my last question is, what can the Christian metal community do to support you and your ministry and your music?
Oh, just listen to it. Um,
Mhm.
if you like it. I mean, I'm not asking anybody to listen to it if you don't like it, but
You're right.
help, support the bands that aren't famous, that write incredible music, that put it out there on their own dime, and of their own time and passion and love for the music. If you like the music, listen to it, comment on their posts, like their posts, help them share it, things like that.
Mhm.
That's probably, I know, people are like, it's so easy to market and promote yourself nowadays with social media and all this stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know that that's necessarily true,
Yeah.
because if you don't already have a following, it's real hard to figure
Yeah.
out how to gain one
Yeah.
without paying a company or something to put bots on it to fix your algorithms and all this
Mhm.
stuff. Like, it's not a simple
Right.
process. It's a hard process. Luckily for me, like when I wrote this music, especially when I wrote the first album, I didn't care about any of that. All I cared about was the time I spent with God writing it. And to be honest with you, trials and tribulations, I was a little more nervous because I really wanted it to go somewhere. I don't want a record contract. I don't care about that, or anything like that. But I wanted people to hear it, and just like anybody, if you're a painter or something, you want people to see your painting. You want, if you're a poet, you want people to read your poetry. It's just kind of that thing. So, for the Christian music community, I would just say, if you do come across something you like, take the time to comment on it or to give it a thumbs up or something, or share it. Um, don't just like it and think, oh, that was great, and then just skip on down and keep going.
Yeah.
Actually help spread that. And you know, uh, trials and tribulation. Well, a day in the life is a lot more, I would say, of a Christian record than trials and tribulations is, just
Mhm.
based on the lyrics and the song titles and stuff like that. But and I never actually intended it to be. It's just the way it worked out. Trials and tribulations, obviously, because I'm passionate about my relationship with God, that I wanted, that's naturally going to go into some of my songs. Not all of them, but some of them. And so, I wasn't setting out to necessarily find a Christian audience, but I'm glad that it was enough a part of that style or type of music that it was able to cross those boundaries, because I, somebody that may not be a Christian, that may not pick up a Christian record,
Mhm.
you know, might hear my record and go, wait, he's making some, references here to, Christ or to the Bible, or, whatever the case may be. Maybe it'll spark something in them to want to look into it more. I don't know. Maybe it'll help them. I'm not sure. But, that's what I would hope anyways. That's what I would wish for. And that's what I ask God for, put this in front of the people that need to hear it. I don't have any financial or anything, any agenda. I just want people to listen to it if they want to hear it.
Cool.
So,
Okay, so what we'll do is, well, first of all, like I said, thank you once again for everything. We look forward to seeing more from you. I'm sure that you'll, participate in the group. People can hit you up there, of
yes.
course, and you know, thank you for just hanging out with us for a little bit over an hour. And we will see you soon. And
No, absolutely. Thank y'all. This has been an honor and a privilege. So I really appreciate y'all taking the time to do this. Yeah.
sure, as mortification would say, God rules. Blessings.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.
Bye.